Hi, this is Les Levine, the self-proclaimed voice of truth and reason in Ohio sports. I think it's terrible that Odell-Beckham-Jr. got choked by Marlon Humphrey, except for one thing. I've looked at every available angle there is, and I can't say for sure that he was choked. I can say for sure that he threw the first punch at Humphrey, for which he should have been ejected before he did or didn't get choked. But to paraphrase Freddie-Kitchens, we're on to San Francisco. That's fine, Freddie. I just hope somebody tells you the game's actually going to be in San Jose. Bud Shaw is here. More Sports and Les-Levine is on the air. From the worldwide headquarters of More Sports and Les-Levine, it's a Tuesday night. Good evening, everyone. Welcome once again to More Sports and Les-Levine into its 24th consecutive year, and it's seen exclusively on cleveland.com. Bud Shaw is with us from WKYC.com. Hello, Bud.
Great to be with you, Les.
Serious?
You know.
I do know.
Yeah, it beats
the
alternative.
By the way, being a Larry David fan as you are, you were out of town, I understand. Did you get to see the replay of Saturday Night Live with him?
I did. Yeah,
sensational.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I got back to the hotel room in time to see that. And then the next day, we were down in Austin for a friend's daughter's wedding, and the next day there were about 8 or 10 of us Clevelanders who found the Browns backers place to watch games.
There's only one?
Well, there's one in downtown Austin. They have another one out in the suburbs, but so we went there. There must have been 200 people there.
Kidding.
Yeah.
Did you interview them? Like, were they veterans of being here? Or are they here because the team is good this year? Or are they here because?
No, I think they've had this club for a long time, and you know, it varied. There were sons of transplanted parents, who were there, but also some people who were born and raised there who's had a connection in their family, and a lot of those older guys, Les, as you know, like they watched the Browns on TV, even though they lived in cities like Nashville and places like that where they didn't have pro teams of their own.
Hank Aaron is an example.
Yeah, so these guys, of course, there's a Cowboys bar nearby. There's also a Steelers bar down the street from there.
Any fights break out between the bars?
No fights that I saw. Everybody was obviously in a good mood because of the way the game turned out.
I went to the one in Sarasota one time, and it was, and I feel I forget the guy's name. He ran 4 million yards for the Browns that day. I forget his name. He was must have been in the Mangini days, and he beat Jim Brown's record.
Jerome. Yes.
Whatever.
Yes.
When there were like 12 people cheering him on in the Sarasota.
Yeah, they were running the ball 42 times a game back then. That's when he won the last 4 of his of that year, and
which kept him
got brought back
job.
Again. Yeah.
216.
Jerome Harrison.
Jerome Harrison is exactly correct. Yeah. 216-575-0403. So, as a Browns, you're not a Browns fan. You're not from Cleveland, but was it enlightening to see what you saw?
Yeah, I mean, I have seen it before, but like you say. In the 90s, I went down when the Indians were playing in Atlanta. I found the Browns backers club down there and went, but it was at a different time when they weren't very good.
Sure.
And that was in '95, so I guess that was Belichick still there, but it was the year that they left. And so you were always like amazed that there were even 50 people in a bar watching a game on a day like that.
These people in Sarasota, they would come in like they're checking into the steel mill for the day. I got to punch the time clock. All right, here we go.
Yeah, so you could tell that even up until the nick-chubb run, the 88-yard run,
what's going to happen against us now?
There was still sort of this like trepidation that people were excited, but when they cut it to 24-16 and made the 2-point conversion and make it 16, there was it
18?
18. I'm sorry, 24-18. There was a lot of concern in that place. It got fairly quiet until obviously
These are the new
goes
Browns.
88 yards.
These are so new that Freddie-Kitchens has them playing in San Francisco this week, even though it's San Jose.
Well, he's saying we're on to San Francisco, meaning the 49ers?
Yeah.
What did he say in San Francisco? Yeah. Freddie, I think, had a great game. It looked to me like the calls that sort of the calls that he made last year.
Threw that reverse in there?
He threw the reverse in there. The other, that one looked like it could have been an option play that Landry pitches to Beckham, right? So, I thought that they really showed finally the stuff that people thought they were going to be able to when the
was
season
consumption
began.
of beer commensurate to when they scored, or nice play, or just the whole 3 hours?
It was pretty much the whole 3 hours. But there were Jell-O shots. I did not have any.
No, of course not.
They asked me, actually, it was really nice. They asked me to come up and speak at
Did you get booed?
There were a couple guys in there from Cleveland who were part of the Browns backers down there because they were visiting friends. So there were no boos, although I told them at halftime, I said I picked the Browns to win. I got a big cheer. And I said, full disclosure, I also picked the Indians to make the playoffs. So I didn't want them
full disclosure.
I didn't want them to think
on the plane,
my opinion actually
on the plane
mattered.
Ride back.
Yeah.
Were you able to come up with some kind of opening comment
yes,
for tonight's show?
Yep.
Well, let's hear it.
I would love to. Should I look right into that camera?
Well, you could, but you won't be able to read anything. Let's try it again.
All right.
Here's, with an opening comment, here's Bud Shaw.
Well, I'm going to keep one eye over there and pretend that I'm looking here. I did make this up, by the way. So it's all ad-lib? Is that what we call it?
I think you can ad-lib it now. Yeah.
Every week in the NFL is different, right? There's adjustments made, there's injuries. You just can't project that because the Browns beat the Ravens in Baltimore Sunday that they're likely to handle Baltimore when that game is played in Cleveland later in the year. But the Browns are obviously in a good spot in the AFC North, and I think it's partly because they have improved pretty much every week. That's the most important thing. It's more important than anything else they've done, unless before Sunday you thought that freddie-kitchens suddenly forgot how to call plays. This season is a reminder that teams with a lot of new pieces can't figure everything out at once, and certainly struggled to do so in a preseason when many of those new pieces are placed in bubble wrap for safekeeping. Will the Browns win the AFC North? I don't know. They should. If they do, it won't be because they won their first division game in September against the Ravens. But right now their arrow is pointing in the right direction, and that's important.
You know, because the Browns have not been in contention for a million years, I don't know that I paid close attention myself to it. But it seems to me there's such a vast difference between the top and the bottom of the teams in the NFL this year. I mean, there's some bad teams. A couple of good ones and many, many bad ones.
Yeah, and you know, I looked at the Ravens' schedule. You know, what's separate? I mean, obviously they're playing a lot of the same teams. Like, so when you say, "Oh, the Steelers are terrible and the Bengals are terrible," well, the Ravens get to play them too.
Sure.
But the one difference is that the Ravens play. They have to go to the West Coast twice, and they have to play the Rams away, and they have to play Seattle away. They get the Patriots at home, but I don't think getting the Patriots anywhere is great for a team.
No, but
right?
that's interesting. When I think of Seattle, I think they're coming here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
I think of them as being so much tougher at home, which they are. But I already have that put in my mind that that'll be a tough game out on the West Coast for the Ravens. For the Ravens.
Yeah, and you know, and so obviously, so we'll play in the Rams out there too.
Right. Exactly.
So a lot of their, you know, the Browns. When you look at that December schedule from December 1st on, it's easy to see them make, you know, continuing whatever run they carry into December all the way through the month, because there's not a lot other than the Ravens here, which will always be a tough game. There's not a lot to slow them down if they stay healthy.
All right, let's take a look at the AFC North update right now, see where they stand. Cleveland, you know, you keep hearing Cleveland in first place. That's obviously because of the tiebreakers head-to-head at this point. If you keep that's that extra game that you can control. Baltimore and Cleveland even at 2-2. Pittsburgh with a win last night, 1-3. And Cincinnati, who was horrible last night, 0-4. Let's take a look at the Week 5 matchups. Cardinals are at the Bengals on Sunday at 1. Ravens at the Steelers, that's at Sunday at 1. And the Browns, that's a Monday night game, and that's in San Jose, 8:15 Cleveland start time on that one. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. This portion of More Sports and Les-Levine brought to you by the Ohio Lottery. Did you know that there are over $6.25 million paid out by an Ohio Lottery pick games every week. With that amount of winning, stop by your local retailer and try your luck with Pick 3, Pick 4, and Pick 5. You can also follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/more-sports-and-les-levine, with new content posted each and every day. We'll check out some of your responses a little bit later. But coming up, Baker-Mayfield, Nick Chubb, and the rest of the Browns offense, exclusively on cleveland.com.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Well, I think Nick, first and foremost, is an excellent individual. He works his tail off every day. He walks on the football field or walks in the weight room or walks in the classroom. And then you know exactly what you're getting from Nick every time he walks out there. And every time the clock starts turning, you know what you're going to get from him. And then after all that, you throw in his ability, his skill set, his desire inside from within to be successful, his resilient nature of being relentless and chasing being good. So I don't know what else you want in a football player.
Did you see that he said that he was so mad at himself on the 4th and 9 that he only got 2 yards on that kind of fueled him for this past game? What's your take on that?
Might need to run a couple more draws at 4th and 9. Maybe not that time in the game.
Last year, Hyde was in his last stretch as the starter, and Chubb was barely playing, although he had that one breakout on just a few carries in I think it was the Oakland game. Yeah. But anyway, where did you see Chubb at this time last year when you were his position coach, and what kind of stuff did you say to him, and how was he taking it?
Well, hey, Nick, he came in during rookie minicamp, and he's ready to go. He's been that way. I had a lot of friends that coached him at the University of Georgia. He's been that way ever since he left high school. So Nick Chubb's not changing. He's always going to have that pursuit of being great. And you saw it. I mean, you saw it initially. You saw it how he worked. You saw how he finished runs during practice. And we're only talking about a rookie minicamp. So he's always been that way.
Can you take the 4 yards that he gave back last year and give it to him this year for the 1,000-yard season?
I'm going to say something that startles you, Les.
Oh.
I mean, two things.
Okay.
They didn't need to sign Kareem Hunt, and they need him even less now. They're going to bring him back at a time when this guy is doing all the right things, is the lead rusher of the team, and needs the ball and should get the ball 20 times a game. And they're going to go through this whole thing again where they have to cut his carries to give somebody else the ball to keep him happy. It's a mistake.
However,
it's a mistake, Les Lemine.
by the time Hunt gets here, the weather's going to be worse. You may need to grind it out a little differently than you're grinding it out when it's 90 degrees.
Why?
Because I don't want it to make it seem like I agree with you. Because I totally agree with you. I talked last night about it. I'm not sure what they could come up with to change the offense for Kareem Hunt.
No, and I just listen. I just think that if they handle it the right way, it'll probably work. But he just needs to become the backup to Nick Chubb. That's what he should be.
Well, hopefully
and
that's
not
what they do.
sharing time or any of that. He should be the backup. Here's the other thing I'm going to say.
Oh, I thought that was both of them tied up in one.
I think I'm the only one in Cleveland that thinks it's a bad idea that the quarterback thinks he has to sprint downfield every time there's a breakaway touchdown. When he rips up a hamstring or turns an ankle, I want you to get on air
and remind
or
people of
online
Bud Shaw
and say, do you remember the night that what's his name said this?
Yeah, by the time he gets down there, they're back at the bench by now. He's looking for guys to congratulate.
Listen, I think it's obviously made for a great picture.
Yeah.
You got Chubb scoring and you got him running down with his hands raised. I just don't think it's. Maybe I'm a worry ward about stuff like that. But if I were Freddie-Kitchens, I'd be like, all right, fella, let's not take a chance on getting hurt.
Why don't we bring that up with Baker-Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns? 20 of 30 so far. In week 4. And how many yards do you think he ran down to congratulate Nick Chubb?
88.
At least 88. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And by the way, he was sacked once, but that interception, I'm not a quarterback coach, as you know. I've never coached an NFL team, but I don't believe that was Baker's fault. I think the receiver gave up on that.
Yeah, it looked like he was expecting Landry to keep coming across, and he threw it down low where only a receiver would be able to get it, but Landry stopped his route. I thought the biggest difference in that game was that Baker-Mayfield played well. I don't think it was Freddie's play calling. I think he got a couple of situations where he felt he could be a little more creative.
I got a couple of emails saying I'm harping too much on the throwing off the back foot, which I did games 1, 2, and 3. I don't think he threw off his back foot at all this time.
No, listen, and here's the other thing that bothers me, okay?
Me?
I had a lot of time on the plane to think about what bothers me. Listen, they didn't play well the first 3 games. Right. Baker-Mayfield said he stunk the first 3 games. Right?
But if you get on that wagon, they're going to dump you off or whatever.
Right. So now if somebody pointed out any of those 2 things that were facts, then he's going to say, oh, you threw us in the trash.
Yeah,
well, we won't forget it. Well, what do you mean 3? Nobody said that they were going to be the worst team in the division when they were at 1 and 2. They just said they're not playing well. Where's the sizzle here?
Well, it's back.
And I think it is back. Yeah. But it's fine to say it's back. But it's not fine to say, oh, you guys, whoever he's talking about. If he's talking about Rex Ryan, then talk about Rex Ryan. Right. Don't make it sound like everybody who found something wrong with the way you guys played the first 3 games has somehow trashed you.
And by the way, if my math is correct, you take Colin Cowherd, you take Rex Ryan, you take any of these guys, if they harp on them every week, eventually they're going to be right because nobody plays a perfect 16 games.
Yeah. And listen, and Baker keeps saying, I'm going to just repeat Freddie's words. If you don't wear brown and orange, you don't matter. But then he can't let it go. He has to keep talking about the people who are his detractors. Well, then, if it really doesn't matter, then it doesn't matter. Don't say anything about it.
216-575-0403 is the number to call. Northeast Factory Direct for 3 great locations, east, west, and to the south, of course, in Macedonia. There's just 3 big bare-bone warehouses filled with the same stuff you're going to find at a number of the big outlet stores. One significant difference, at Northeast Factory Direct, those items are priced at half or less the regular retail. Bottom line, nobody is going to touch their everyday savings or their quality. So if you want nice big-ticket items to improve your home, you want to pay half price of what most people pay, then you've got to go to Northeast Factory Direct or northeastfactorydirect.com. Northfield Park, your home for live and simulcast racing. They've got it, and you can catch the excitement of live racing every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Saturday, and now Sunday. No live racing today, however, but there is the rest of the week. And Monday through Wednesday, post time is 6 p.m. Saturday and Sunday, 6:40. Open early every day for simulcast action. The weekly Sunday contest this week features Belmont. Top prize $500 in cash each and every week. Free admission, free parking every day at Northfield Park. We'll come back in a moment. Bud Shaw is with us. We'll talk more or listen to more of Freddie-Kitchens. More Sports and Les-Levine, seen exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement, it ruined the carpeting, the smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
Winning enough for a new Saturday morning ritual. That feels like $1 million. Play the newest instance from the Ohio Lottery.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen. For old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget. Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
The Ravens went to the extent of posting an article today saying that Odell, in fact, was not choked and that their player was trying to protect himself against Odell. Do you have any response to that?
Did you see the video? Okay. That's my response. We're moving on to San Francisco. You know, everybody saw the video. So that answers your question, right?
Have you heard that from the NFL about this?
I did talk to them, and I'll keep that between them and me. You know.
Are you satisfied with what you heard?
I mean, we talked, and you know, I got an understanding, and moving forward, I'll compliment Odell for this. In that instance, he did an excellent job of not retaliating. All right, so I would say that. I thought he was in some positions all day that, you know, difficult situations all day, and I thought he handled it fairly well.
They claim he threw punches. Do you agree with that?
You saw the video.
This whole thing put a little bit more of a chip on the Brown's shoulder.
You know, I think our chip on our shoulder needs to be the, you know, the next game we're playing. I think we've got our priorities wrong if we're worried about this. You know, that's kind of my job. It's not their job, and I don't think they're worried about it. I think our guys are focused on getting better. They were focused today on meeting and cleaning up the game, making corrections on the field. They're focused on moving on to the next game. I think that's what we've tried to instill, and I think our guys have done a great job of doing that and staying focused and being in the moment.
You know, you talked about Baker-Mayfield, you know, maybe with a hamstring running all the way down. Odell Beckham did a lot of running himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I don't understand about this whole concept is, like, why, if you go on social media, the Cleveland media seems more worried about whether this guy was choked or not than Odell-Beckham-Jr. does.
Right.
He's not complaining about it. So what? To me, it's a non-story. So what? You know, one guy threw a punch, the other guy retaliated, got him down on the ground, and the refs are going to find. The league is probably going to fine both of them. So
probably no suspension. Right?
No, I wouldn't think so. But you know.
You know who's having a good year?
Joe-Schobert.
Oh, is that because you saw my notes, or because you actually believe that's the case?
No, I believe that's the case. I mean, I don't think he's the most gifted linebacker in the league, but I think he's having a very good year. And a season after there were stats suggesting that he had more missed tackles than any linebacker in the league.
Well, he's
certainly, maybe he's still missing some, but he's making a lot more.
Well, he's made 44. He's 27 solo tackles, 1 sack, fumble force, and a fumble recovery. Yeah, it's pretty good. Last year of his contract, so he's playing for some big money.
I think he's an important player, too. I mean, I don't know whether they'll decide to re-sign him based on what they think they could get in the draft or what they already have on this team. But I think last year when he did go out less with injury, there was some drop-off because he was a guy that kind of kept everybody on the same page defensively.
And he may not have made the tackles, but he put other players in position to do that.
Yeah, you know.
That's a tough stat.
Yeah.
To play with.
You know, he's going to be one of those guys, I think, that when they start looking, you know, there's going to be guys like him that don't get re-signed because of the money that it's going to take to keep the big playmaker type guys, you know, together on this team. And if they do their drafting well, they'll be bringing in younger, cheaper, and players who are as talented or more talented than the guys they're going to let go.
I'm watching the game on Sunday, and I'm thinking about the end of the first quarter or beginning of the second, I'm saying, is Myles Garrett hurt? Where is he? I had trouble finding him on the field.
Yeah, I think teams are having to pick their poison a little bit. You know, we saw early on, I think they were trying to get by with not always single blocking him, but I think they've decided that they've got to pay a little more attention to where he is on the field, and I think that's probably why Olivier Vernon had a better game.
And you don't see any blitzing linebackers.
No, I mean,
not many.
I think they felt, and listen, when they play like a team like Cincinnati with as offensive line that's as bad as that, you're going to see. I mean, they're going to let their front four dominate them, and the linebackers don't even have to worry about it.
Good point. All right, so Joe-Schobert is leading the AFC in tackles, and he's in the final year of his contract, so he's looking for a career year. He's going to wind up somewhere, and he's going to wind up with a lot of money. 216-575-0403 is the number to call. You can email us during the show at real-levine@gmail.com. Explore your interest and find a program that puts you in a path to a bright future with Tri-C. Tri-C offers more than 1,000 courses and over 140 career and technical programs. Go to tri-c.edu for more information about Cuyahoga Community College. We'll come back in a moment. We'll turn our attention for the first time to basketball. The Cavaliers had their media day yesterday and started practice. They've got an exhibition game coming up in a couple of days. John Beilein will speak at Cavs Media Day when we get back. More Sports and Les-Levine continues exclusively on cleveland.com.
As a kid growing up, my dream was to go to college, play baseball, and get a degree. Coming out of high school, I had two choices. I was accepted into a four-year university, but I decided to come to Tri-C after receiving a scholarship. I got my associate's degree at Tri-C. They transferred all my credits straight into Baldwin-Wallace, so I started at Baldwin-Wallace University as a junior. My name is Tyler Leonard, and I earned my first degree at Tri-C.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
It takes attention to detail. With your local Bryant dealer, you're getting more than just a technician. you're getting someone who pays attention to your needs and the little things that make a big difference. It takes a dealer you can rely on. And to keep your family cool this summer,
let me show you how this works.
it takes Bryant.
Bryant, whatever it takes.
And to keep your family comfortable, it takes Smiley One Heating and Cooling. Find them at 440-449-HEAT.
We had a huge culture meeting earlier in the year, or just a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the questions. So it was when we're at the point of the year that our guys and our team, everyone, right, is improving daily, being at their best, showing great habits in games and practices. It won't be on number of wins. It will be on, are you seeing this steady rise in our play? I think Bill Walsh has a great book out. The wins will take care of themselves, and they'll be closely aligned. So if we get better every single day, we're going to have a heck of a year. I think it's really easy for me to say right now, no, I'm in this for the whole season, and we're going to have this great growth mindset. But when we do, as you said, we were very fortunate the way we've been able to win particularly the last 3 years at Michigan. And now there's a chance we could lose more. We lost 7 games last year. And there's a chance you could lose. I think we have 11 games like right out of the gut. And so that it's easier said than done. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You have no choice. You're playing. It's like a tournament. You know, it's a year-long tournament. You got to play. Well, you don't have time to think, and you just get ready for the next game. And that's what we're going to do, and that's how I'll look at it.
So there you have it, John Beilein.
Saying that once.
The growth part?
Yeah, that you won't be able to chart the growth by wins and losses. Next year, you know, it's just the fact that it's pro basketball. Next year, people are going to say, okay, that was fine for 1 year. Let's chart the growth in wins and losses.
Okay,
you know?
All that being said,
yeah,
I think I don't know what else is available. I think that was a good choice.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy with a track record of developing players. I mean, I think we've talked before that, you know, some of the guys that have gone into the NBA draft as first rounders were not 5-star recruits at Michigan. Now, whether he gets the credit or the players themselves deserve the credit for turning themselves into really good NBA players, I'm sure it's a little bit of both. Yeah, and he's, you know, I think the fact that they have these 2 young guards, he likes to play with a guard-heavy kind of approach. He likes to run. I think these guys are going to get a chance to really blossom under him.
So it's not a shooting guard, a point guard. It's just guards.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I think, you know, I mean, like right now they've got these 2 young kids with some of their skill sets, if you want to call it that, are overlapping. But I think you try to develop players the best you can, and then a year from now, if you have to make another change or one of those guys becomes the top bench scorer, you know, talent is talent.
All right, we don't have enough information on these guys and how they're going to fit in, but we do know something that came about in college sports just yesterday. Governor of California signed a bill, and apparently in Florida they're talking about a similar bill where college players can sign an agent or an agent can sign them. That's going to upend the entire structure as we know it today.
Yeah, you know, I just feel like the NCAA has had it its way for so long that, you know, they're going to start sounding all these alarms now because of this, that it's going to upset the competitive balance. Did you watch the Miami of Ohio State game? Do you think there was any competitive balance in that game?
No.
What did the Miami coach say? This is like playing a pickup game where the other team gets the first 85 picks. So, you know, I understand people don't want to see these guys get paid, but I think the current situation is really unfair.
No, but the NCAA still holds the hammer on this one. Who's going to set up an NCAA basketball tournament? Who's going to set up a playoff conference or a football playoff situation? They can afford to sit a couple years out on it.
What do you mean, and not have a national championship game?
Yeah, well,
and give up that revenue?
Yeah, but now they're splitting it 2 or 3 ways if this bill goes through as is.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Is it the NCAA? Is this going to cost the NCAA money, or is it going to cost companies money that want to give these kids endorsement deals?
That's an investment.
Yeah.
The NCAA tournaments, as we know it, would be shelved. But then again, there has to be a way there's so much money involved, there has to be a way they can all get together on this.
I mean, would it bother you to watch a college football? You went to a big-time college football school.
Right.
Would it bother you to watch Ohio State play if those kids weren't in class? Is the only reason you watch it because you want to see them, you know, young accountants and marketing people and all turned out by your college football program? So if kids go to college without having to go to class, I mean, that's at least a more representative model for what it really is, which is big-time, semi-pro sports.
So what he's saying, that people like me as alums will look at it as...
I'm just asking whether you would. I don't know.
I hadn't given it any thought.
Because I think some of this stuff is like, people are worried because there's, right now, the kids are at least forced to go to class. And they think that when this model gets totally disrupted by this law, that they might not even be asked to go to class.
So the question is, does that bother me?
Yeah.
Or bother people like me? Maybe a little bit, but not enough to not cheer for the Bucs on Saturday.
Yeah, you're not going to suddenly stop watching them if they're putting out a great... And by the way, they are the best team in college football right now.
Right now they are. 2-1-6. And look at all the quarterbacks out there. About 6 great quarterbacks, potentially. 216-575-0403, that portion of the show brought to you by Northeast Factory Direct. They've got no gimmicks, no deceiving blowout sales, no typical retail nonsense. All they've got is lower prices on the same items you're going to buy elsewhere. West 140th Street, that's in Cleveland, the old B&B Appliance in Lakeland Boulevard in Euclid, and Freeway Drive in Macedonia, or check out everything first at northeastfactorydirect.com. Sokolowski's University Inn, all you got to do is, you don't have to check that place out. You got to just know that it's winner of the James Beard Foundation Award. That tells you all you need to know. Open 11 to 3 Monday through Friday and Saturday nights for dinner. Mike and Bernie Sokolowski's University Inn, Cleveland's oldest family-owned and operated restaurant, started back in 1923. We've got a Facebook question of the day and a lot of responses. We'll check them when we get back. How Come Quickies a little bit later, exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
I had an epoxy-based sand paint on my floor that deteriorated, and that's why I called Nature Stone.
Why paint? It's expensive, it's ugly, and it doesn't last. Nature Stone is always affordable. It's beautiful, and with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your garage floor again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
When it comes to selling you a mattress, most retailers are handing you a long line of extra steps that drive up costs and create confusion. At the Original Mattress Factory, we simplify the mattress shopping experience by building mattresses and box springs in our own local factories and selling them direct to you. It's short, sweet, and simply makes sense. So experience more than just a mattress store. Experience an original, the Original Mattress Factory.
Presque Isle Downton Casino now has sports betting. Use one of the 50 state-of-the-art Bet America kiosks to place your bet. Then, watch your favorite games on our new HD televisions or visit our new sportsbook area. Only at Presque Isle Downton Casino.
This date in sports history is so good we did it twice here, October 1st, 1933. The Babe, who retired in 1935, made his final pitching appearance for the Yankees. He threw a shutout and he hit a home run. Pretty good day for the Babe. Also in 1961, October 1st, Roger Maris hits his 61st home run off Boston's Tracy Stoller. How about that? Can you believe they argued whether they should accept it because there was 162 games instead of 154?
It's crazy. I looked up a Tracy Stallard story to find out whatever happened to him. They said unlike Ralph Branca and Al Downing, he never talked about giving up that home run, never wanted to talk about it.
Do you think Downing put it over the plate nicely?
I don't
think
know.
about that while I tell you about this date in Les-Levine history. Les was happy when his favorite former Indian, Roger Maris, hit his 61st. Everybody else in the neighborhood was rooting for the Rocky Calavito.
You've always gone against the grain, haven't you?
A little bit.
So was everybody else wearing long hair and afros when that picture was
like
taken?
Like this?
When that...
when that bar mitzvah picture was taken.
What was Wally's name on Wally Cleaver?
Wally Cleaver. I think everybody, no matter what religion they are, should have a bar mitzvah picture taken, just for historical purposes.
Lumpy Rutherford, was
Lumpy
that his
Rutherford,
name?
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Got a couple to go with. Let's start with Ron Byer from, where's he from?
Ohio.
No, Finley. No, not Finley. Fremont. There you go. Ron Byer.
Hi, Les. This is Ron Byer. Hey, Les, has your confidence for Freddie-Kitchens been regained now that finally, in the fourth game, he went back to calling the offense like he did last year? Back to the quick offense, get the ball out of Baker's hands as quick as possible, and let the other players do their thing. This pace of offense works best for the Browns, and that is how and why he became the Browns head coach in the first place.
First of all, let me tell you something about Ron Byer. Can I do that? Mm-hmm. 2 years in a row now, from Fremont, Ohio, he has driven to the Parkinson's Walk at Orange High School that my group puts on. How fantastic is that?
That's really great. That's really nice.
Thank you, Ron.
And he's dead on about that. He's just, that's exactly it. As I watched that game in this crowded place Sunday, the pace of it, you could just tell it was a lot different than it was.
Right.
You know, Baker wasn't, looking and running off to the called plays fast so the ball got it. That's the way they were playing last year.
Yeah, the weeks before they were just getting the play in by the just beating the play clock.
Yeah, so we'll see if that, can the 49ers disrupt them a little bit and give them something else to think about at the line of scrimmage? Maybe we'll see some of that.
At this point, 3 games in for San Francisco. They've got a bye, coming off a bye week.
Yeah, that's not a great thing.
I was going to say, any reason to discuss that as a reason why you win or lose?
No, I think it's a negative for San Francisco. You started you come out of a preseason when you haven't really played a lot together, and then you have these 3 games and you're starting to feel like you're getting it back, and then suddenly you have to sit. I think even the Browns' bye is a little early in the year for them. Just imagine if they win this game and they get Seattle the week after, then suddenly they're going to feel like they want to play the next Sunday, and then they got to go in and play a Patriots team that's probably has won the week before.
Bob from Fairview Park also checked in on the voicemail of Truth and Reason. Let's listen to his comment.
Hi, Les and Bob. This is Bob in Fairview Park. And Les, I'm going to use your words in describing how I'm feeling about the Indian season. A win in April is one less than you need in September. April, you may recall, kicked off the Max Moroff, Eric Stamets era. In case we've forgotten, after hitting .202 in Columbus last year, Mr. Stamets played in 15 games and in 41 at-bats amassed 1 single, 1 double, and 24 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Jose Iglesias is sitting out there, and the last-place Cincinnati Reds, to fulfill their injury at short, signed him for $2.5 million. Not multiple wins between having the home field or not in the playoffs. And as it turns out, in my opinion, cost the Indians a chance to make the playoffs. A couple wins in April would have been great, and cutting a corner like this wasted a great season of pitching and another season of not winning the World Series. Very frustrating. Thanks, Les.
All right, Bob, thank you very much. I did a story on the starting lineup from opening day and the starting lineup from closing day. Mm-hmm. It's incredible. I looked at those names and I said, that was just this year?
Yeah, I mean, I get his point. I guess I stopped looking back at April because this team sat there with 93 wins with 5 games to go in the season.
And Lindor was hurt and Kipnis was hurt.
And Lindor was hurt, and I'm not sure you would sign a player to take Lindor's spot knowing that you got Lindor coming back, But I get it. I get his point, and I would think that, if you sat down with Terry-Francona, he'd probably admit that he was a little frustrated by not only the losses over the winter, but how slow they were to put a good team around this pitching staff and bullpen.
All right, we have a Facebook question of the day. Who are you rooting for in the MLB playoffs, if anybody? Aaron Wood says Houston. I think they have a real good chance to win, and they're loaded, and they have got good pitching. Brandon Buckley, the Astros, Brantley's on their team, and I want to see him in a World Series.
That's a nice thought.
Lawrence Butler says Washington, but...
Washington? What does he know?
How did I know that was...
Why would he pick Washington?
Because in the fifth inning, their president's race is much better than the hot dog race.
He's a historian. Huh?
Rick May says, being a lifelong Indians fan, anybody but the Yankees. Glenn Berger says, since the Indians aren't in the playoffs, I don't care who wins. I definitely want the Yankees to lose. Jonathan William, he wants the Browns. Who does he want, the St. Louis Browns? 216-575-0403, the voicemail of Truth and Reason is where you can go. Each and every day when we're not on the air, you can call anytime, leave a message. We'll use them as we just did. 216-200-6650 is the number to call. Northfield Park, they've got the Courageous Lady Stakes coming up on October 12th. That's a Saturday night. $75,000 Ohio Sire Stakes Championship for veteran trotters. And the beer slide contest from 7 to 8 p.m. that night. And Pop-A-Shot, 8:30 to 9:30 in Lady Luck's Clubhouse, the buffet just $19.95 at Northfield Park. Free admission, free parking every day. We'll come on back. One more segment to go. We'll check How Come Quickies. Pretty good batch today. And more. More Sports and Les-Levine. See it exclusively on cleveland.com.
No other company or product can match the features, benefits, and warranty of an authentic Nature Stone floor.
There was moisture in the basement. It ruined the carpeting. The smell was terrible. We didn't feel safe in our own basement, and that's when we called Nature Stone.
And with Russell's Promise, our true unconditional warranty, you will never have to replace your basement flooring again. Get Nature Stone installed by the end of October and save up to half off. Schedule your free cost estimate easily online today at naturestone.com. It's not just a floor, wow, it's Nature Stone.
There are tastes we remember. Every smell brings the happiness of times gone by. Experience this every time you walk into Gallucci's Italian Foods. Whether you need lunch on the go, a catered party, or that perfect blend of wine, meats, and cheeses, Gallucci's has exactly what you're looking for. Straight from Mama's Kitchen, for old world traditions or original experiences. From the tastes you remember to new flavors you'll never forget, Gallucci's is a tasty branch of your family tree.
The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education program recognizes role model students and teachers from across Ohio. Nominations can now be done completely online. To nominate a deserving teacher or student, go to ohiolottery.com. In the About section, find Partners in Education. There you will find links to the nomination forms. Students kindergarten through 12th grade can be academic all-stars. Teachers can be honored as a Teacher of the Month. The Ohio Lottery Partners in Education, where stars shine.
Tomorrow night, we'll be joined by the D-Man, who's getting all kinds of airtime on WTAM. Do you think we'll have to worry about losing him here on the show?
He's very good on radio, I'll tell you that. Not that he isn't on TV, but I could see why people tune in to listen.
I do too, which reminds me I'll be on 92.3 The Fan. That'll be Friday and Monday. It's live, actually, from 6 until 7, Monday through Friday. And it's replayed, of course, you can find us on the archive anytime you'd like. Birthdays for today, the 1st of October, Rod Carew. Bud, I don't know how you feel about it. I think he's one of the top 5 hitters I've ever seen in my life.
Absolutely.
Roger Over and Out, 1947. Mark McGuire. Ryan Pomprion from the Factory of Sadness video.
Yeah, that's the shirt that Mike Polk Jr. is wearing.
Unbelievable. Matt Cain and Xander Bogaerts, all born on the 1st of October. All right, before we go to quickies and all that stuff, let's go to the phones. Let's go to BP, who's standing by in Pepper Pike. Hello, BP.
Hey, Les and Bud, how are you guys doing tonight?
Doing well, thank you.
Good, good. I didn't get to call in yesterday for Victory Monday, so I'll have to settle for today.
It's Victory Tuesday.
But it was a huge Browns win. A lot of people have said it was the biggest Browns win since they came back, which I don't know if that's true, but it was a great win nonetheless.
No, there had to be one in the 9 and in the.
Well, what I thought of, BP, was and I realized that there's a bigger rivalry with Baltimore, but I thought of that away game on a Thursday night in Cincinnati in 2014 when they dominated, won 24-3 to go 6-3.
This is the Brian Hoyer game.
Yeah, that's the Brian Hoyer game and the Deion Sanders pay the man, which the Browns did not do for other reasons.
No, but he got paid. He got paid well. But it's a good point. I just think
this season has a lot more promise. You know, that was almost like sort of like a mirage a little bit. You know, Brian Hoyer. Well, this team has been built to win and win for the next 3, 4, 5 years, hopefully.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from, but it's still hard to take the 4th game of the season and call it that big. Now, will it be a situation where that game is the one that turned things around and made all the good things to happen afterward? Then we can talk about it historically.
You know, a lot of people haven't talked. I mean, this team still has been, ravaged by injuries. You know, we're lost our starting tight end, starting linebacker. You know, three-fourths of the starting cornerback, the backfield.
You know, I wonder about those cornerbacks if they'll be just thrown into that starting lineup when they get back. What do you think, Bud?
I think they will be, but I think that the reason that the Browns weren't so concerned about a huge drop-off there is that, these guys who were out there in their place had started last year too. So they didn't come into it just right off the street with no starts under their belt.
And some of the starters now, the replacements, they started several games last year. So it's a combination of the things.
But you're also, in football, there's so many, multiple receiver sets. So, it did hurt your depth. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yep, that's a good point.
No question about it.
So you're still playing guys that were third stringers. Even though T.J. Carey and Mitchell Terrence Mitchell are good players, they really are. They're almost like, really de facto starters no matter what. Like, I was surprised Greedy Williams was a starter anyways. And Denzel Ward's missed 6 out of his 20 NFL games, which is concerning also.
Well, I'm sure they're going to keep their eye on not just the injury thing, but how well he plays, because they do, as you suggest, they do have replacements who are quite capable.
The Denzel Ward thing, I'm glad you mentioned, because, when he was drafted, I felt that, and I've been proven wrong on the Baker-Mayfield front, obviously, but I felt like the only criticism I had of those 2 picks was that in the top 5 picks of the draft, they picked 2 guys that were undersized. And in this league, size isn't everything, but it's a pretty important factor.
At every position.
Yeah, and so I agree with you about Denzel Ward, and I think that's why Greg Williams was so harsh on him about, getting better technique on tackling, because he's not the biggest guy. And Greedy Williams he's tall, but he's also, fairly
thin.
Slight.
He's pretty thin.
All right,
I did want to go towards look at the 49ers game. Once again, we're underdogs on the road, kind of similar to the Ravens game. I think we can win this game. I looked at the 49ers roster. They're not that great. I don't, they beat the Bengals and they beat the Steelers, so that's where they got 2 out of their 3 wins.
Yeah, you'd be hard pressed to make them the underdogs at home and undefeated, but we'll see what happens. BP, thanks so much for joining as always. All right,
have a good night.
Good night. Ready for quickies? Got grading paper?
I've got grading paper.
Will you write on there like C-, C me, like teachers would write?
Instead of the number? You want me to give it?
C me if they, Pete from Vienna. How come it's a penny for your thoughts, but you have to put your 2 cents in? Have a thought on that? Ooh, that high.
Yeah, I like it. See, it's not a pun.
No, it's not.
Makes you think.
I wonder if you're going to like this one. Big Ed, an excellent latecomer in the proceedings.
I'll be the judge of that.
How come when I asked my buddy his secret to a successful marriage, he said, we go out to eat twice a week. She goes Tuesdays, I go Fridays.
It's okay, but I'm going to deduct the...
Why, because it was my timing of the reading of it that made it what it was?
It took a little long, for a quickie.
Ed continues on. How come my high school football coach kept me on the bench the whole game until the crowd yelled, we want Ed, we want Ed, and then he came up to me and said, Ed, go see what they want. It was long. C minus C me.
C me. They are called quickies, sir.
Mr. Gullible with his daily twosome. How come when I asked the waiter to bring me what the lady at the next table was having, he told me, sorry, but she wants to eat it herself?
Is that a When Harry Met Sally reference there?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Well, you didn't like it. So.
Yeah, it was okay. I started out grading too high on this show.
How come rice is great when you're hungry and you want 2,000 of something to eat? I'd like 2,000 pieces of popcorn.
Oh, because it's
so much of it. And it's heavy because it's served with 1-ton soup. All right,
Are you
here's
going
the
to
one.
save this segment?
What do you got? 6.0.
Yeah.
I think Mr. Gullible's mad at me for some reason. This is from John. I told him yesterday we're going to save this one, but he wanted to make sure, so he resent it. Here's the one I sent yesterday that you wanted Bud to grade, and a new one for today. How come when I won $1,000 and donated a quarter of it to charity, I still had $999.75 left? 9.95.
Like
it does not get better than that.
Well, it does get better than that.
Well, not by much. I mean, I can't even imagine. Think of that. I won $1,000, donated a quarter. It's not like I donated $250. He donated a quarter.
Yes.
Just for those tuning in late.
It sounds like your demographic, actually.
All right, so here's the new one. I'm not quite sure how I feel about this.
Right.
You'll help me out with it?
Yeah.
How come another world's oldest man has died? This is beginning to look suspicious. What does he mean by that? I grade it first, and then you'll tell me?
These have to be very clear.
Clear.
And easily How come another world's oldest man has died? I don't know I don't know the.
If that's true.
Yeah. Well, I understand what he's saying.
He should have had this on a separate paper from the other one.
The oldest person in the world
then becomes not the oldest anymore.
Exactly. So I get it, but it's not. Yeah, it's not one of my favorites. Is that it?
He should have sent in 2 separate pages because the other one is fantastic.
Well, he did get a high grade for the one. But there's still yet to be a 10.0.
Let's see if my writers came up with something better for tonight.
You have writers?
I do. How come Engagement, Ohio is between Dayton and Marion? What do you think about that, Mr. Shaw?
I like it, but what did I ask you when I saw it first? I said,
is there an
Engagement, Ohio? And you go, no.
But there's a Marion and a
Dayton.
And a Dayton.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
You can verbalize it. You scuffle through the papers.
No.
You found something?
Yeah.
Let's see, there's an 8.4. Should we use that? Nah, we can do better than that.
No, that's pretty good.
All right, do you have a final
comment? Now, are you your writers?
Yes, in that particular case.
All right, I see.
Those guys, however, are my spellers, as you and Tracy Stollard would believe. Okay,
I'll
what do you
come
got?
here every day at 5 minutes till 6,
yeah.
and I'll proofread. How's that?
That's great. That's great. All right, you got about a minute of anything? No?
No,
That's
I mean,
okay,
the conversation we had with BP about how big is the win, it's like momentum in baseball is always the next day's pitcher.
Right.
How big the win is always what you do next week,
Sure.
If they go out and they beat San Francisco and they not somehow, because they could do it, beat Seattle at home, then all of a sudden I think you start looking at that game in Baltimore and saying that was the one that made them believe
right.
not made them believe, because I doubt that they doubted themselves.
With your schedule, then they've got the off week and then New England.
Yeah, and listen, nobody expects they're going to walk into New England and win that game.
No, but
right?
if they win the next 2 games, they can almost afford to lose.
Yeah,
that
so
one.
now you're 4-2 with a bye, and you're going into New England, and then you're looking at again that late season schedule is.
At least it looks like
Arizona, Cincinnati twice. I mean, Buffalo should be a tougher game. It always is for this team. So, but Pittsburgh and I know that game was terrible, that Pittsburgh-Cincinnati game, but I'm not ready to say Pittsburgh is
that's a Pittsburgh
guaranteed
type win.
two wins there. They'll obviously beat the Bengals twice when they play them, unless something drastic changes.
All right, we got to go. Follow Bud Shaw on WKYC.com. Also see him on Channel 3. I'll see you tomorrow with the D-Man Dennis Maniloff. Of all the shows I've ever done, this was the most recent.